Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and ever since the knife was invented, it's been misused as a pry bar, so it was inevitable that somebody was going to put a pry bar on a knife, especially a utility knife. Now I've got three different examples here. This one is the Gerber Pry Bird. You could buy this for about 23 bucks at Home Depot. They make an exclusive color version for Home Depot, or you can spend about 30 at a sporting goods store. I've had this one for quite a while, didn't really think it would come out in other variations, but it has. The Milwaukee, this is the part number 48221517, and as far as I can tell, that's the name of the thing. But what this is their take on a pry bar utility knife. I think by far this is the worst one. I'll show you why. And then here is the Klein. This is the flick blade pry bar utility knife. And this one here is a little bit different take than these two by having a kind of a standard pivot deployment. And this thing sells for about 20 bucks. So there is a little bit of a price difference. Being the most affordable here, the Milwaukee, it's a really stout little tank of a knife, made of metal. As a good pry bar probably should. But two things about it. The first thing is, it has by far the sharpest of the prying ends. And if you compare that, there's the Klein and there's the Gerber, you can see that it almost is another knife blade on its own, which is something that you put into your palm when you're using a knife, or especially if you want to apply much force. You know, this thing is going right into the pusher here. Not a good idea. You feel it immediately, and it's only made worse by this. This is actually a reversible pocket clip holder, but it's actually fairly sharp, and boy do you feel it. Your thumb just slides across that thing, or your finger, and it's kind of sharp. So I don't think you even need a pocket clip on a knife this thin, and that's exactly what Gerber did, is ignored it. So it's like an afterthought. They built this thing and then they sent it off to the pocket clip factory, and they said, okay, just carve out these areas and we'll stick a pocket clip on there. I don't know, just pop it off. It is in a kind of an interesting configuration, and this is where I kind of thought about it. Normally when I'm carrying a pocket knife, I carry it in the tip-up configuration. Means your pocket clip is hooked here, the tip is up, so when you slide it out, you can immediately deploy it. Well, if I'm hanging this in my pocket, this is sticking up, so it's like I have another set of blades here that you definitely feel, so maybe keep it in the tool bag. And then when you slide it out, well, you do get a little bit of confusion sometimes as to which end the blade is going to come out. And that's a little disconcerting to me. Yes, it should come out this side. I never really had trouble orienting this for some reason. As you can see, kind of the way my finger wraps around it, but they've reversed the bottle opener. Got to have a bottle opener, apparently. So that bottle opener, I found out I was indexing with. It was kind of natural to have these things falling off the bottom, so I would deploy it. But I have honestly pushed on this thinking I'm doing something wrong and slid it backwards, just like that, while I'm holding on to it because I thought I had it in the other direction. Now, obviously, I think some people might think, well, duh, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Yeah, okay, good point. I won't. I learned my lesson, but it means I have to pay close attention to this, that I'm holding it correctly in my hand, because this is also quite natural right here. Anyway, what Klein has done is they put both the blade and the pry bar on the same side. And by doing that, you pretty much lock in that both the work sides of the work ends of the knife are on the same end, meaning you shouldn't get that confusion. It does have a pocket clip. It is reversible here, and as you notice, this would be tip down. So I should reverse that, but I don't think I'm going to use that much as the pocket clip. Or it comes out, and this is interesting, it comes out of the pocket and tells you something's different about this. So maybe be careful. I don't know. So this is completely hidden. Obviously on these I've got a sharp end, and this is another thing. See this? Watch. This slides in and the click is there. You've completely kept that blade in. Milwaukee is a little hard to push. There's a lot going on, and it's got a bunch of stops. So you have to honestly, you know, really fight with it. And that second one, look at that. Now I get this. This might be box cutting, maybe even shallow cardboard cutting, but boy, that could be kind of dangerous if you flipped it around to try to use that, if it's locked in that position or if it's not fully locked and somehow that pops out, because that's just something that can happen. The gut hook thing or the cord cutter, again, I think those are fine. It's just another use for the blade. They do have a bottle opener. This, as far as I can tell, does not have a dedicated bottle opener, but I'm pretty sure I can get any bottle open with this thing if I really want to. All right, let's take a look at the knife part of it. This has one stop here and then the full open, so you can use it kind of as that carpet cutter. This doesn't really get in the way too much of that. It's almost like a little bit of a thumb ramp, but it's still there. Good thing it's not sharp. Absolutely no effect once the knife is in the deployed position, and you've got that nice big area that you can use just like you would with any other utility knife. Now, the operation of these, well, let's take a look closer at the angle of attack. And what I mean by that is Klein has got this arrangement. There are several things here. You got the shape of this thing, but you also have the cut or the grind of the pry bar, and then you've got here an extra little ramp, and they put that on there to give it some leverage. But I'm just going to set this thing in its prying configuration on this magnet so you can see that angle. Here is the Milwaukee, and then here is the Gerber. So if we look close at these, you can see kind of the angle of attack, kind of an off-roading term there when you're approaching an obstacle. So the Klein is obviously the lowest. As you tip up higher, like with that Gerber, it's harder to get it under certain things. So if I'm playing around and coming in, say, on this nail, I might not be able to get this into the slot, the position that I need because it's too steep. Whereas the Klein, if I come in at that lower angle, I might be able to wedge that underneath, to pry something up. That's a difference. Milwaukee, it benefits a little from those really thin prying jaws. So as far as coming in, even though it's got a little bit steeper, it's probably the best for prying, at least if you're trying to wedge nails up, which is often not what I do with one of these. There are so many better tools out there if you're trying to pop the nails up. In fact, that's why we often misuse the blades, because we're trying to, dig a little hole to get something under there. So what's another use for the pry bar? Well, obviously opening paint cans. Kind of a classic design, been around forever. And none of these seem to open it very well. Especially, I'll start with this bigger one here. As you can see, these, it's not a design, whoops, you can't see that right here, that allows you to get in to the paint can. Here's the Klein. Klein is the best out of all of them, but you can see I can pry that up. And there's the Gerber. The Gerber, like the Milwaukee, is darn near impossible to hold in there compared to, if you grab a hold of something else that's designed, that won't open it at all. Anyway, and it'll pop those up. If I really work at it and twist side to side, I can get this thing open. Smaller ones, you can see, let's hold it left-handed here. I've got the Gerber. No joy on that. Or that was the Milwaukee. Here's the Gerber. No joy there. The Klein, I can wedge that in. Nope, nothing there. But anyway, there they go. There they are. What else? As far as a utility knife, this is the standard flick blade. As far as the slide out, well, I almost did it there too. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this disappears. This design, there's just something about it that makes it a little bit more, I don't know, injury prone maybe, or injury causing. It just feels that when I'm using it. There's like that lockdown there. The sharpness here, I can see that cutting in. cutting in because that is a really, really sharp little piece of metal there. That's what that one looks like. And the Gerber. Yeah, look at that Milwaukee go. Grinds away. So, as far as prying, I would use it for other stuff. It is small, it's handy, it's the least expensive out of all of these, but for safety, I think this is more predictable, more useful. We're probably more adapted to, I guess, the flicking blade, and by putting the knife and the pry bar on one side, you do get that good feel in the hand and the ability to push on the knife or the pry bar without any worry that you've got this razor blade ready to dive into your hand on the other side should something happen, or maybe you slip and fire that up. I don't know. I can just imagine some things. I think the same might be able to happen here, but not as easily. This Milwaukee, well, I almost did it again. This Milwaukee just scares me. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if I'm off base here. Let me know if you've got one of these and you really like it. But, you know, given that the choices were where to put this thing, same side or the other side, where to put that bottle opener, which again for indexing, whether or not you want to slide these out with one click, you know, basically there's the out one, or full, or all of these little clicks. I don't know. Just some thoughts. But I did get all three of them, and I've tried all three of them, and this Milwaukee scares me. The Gerber, I didn't know much about them. You know, so I'm probably a little careful. This thing I will use with reckless abandon and enjoy it. So there it is. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.